I think the current scenario going on in Lahore that we're all talking about in social media, that nobody else is interested in talking about on mainstream media. The only person, a few people I've seen from the mainstream media who've commented on it is Sami Ibrahim and Farouk Jamil. And other than that, nobody else has bothered to even comment on what's going on in Lahore. So apparently, we all know it all started with the thing that Tehreek-e-Labbaik party activists, they demanded the exodus and the removal of French ambassadors in lieu of the blasphemy committed by Macron Emmanuel. And the government of Pakistan, Imran Khan promised them that he's going to have a cabinet meeting, he's going to bring up this issue within the cabinet meeting and then make a decision in lieu of the voting, and which is the democratic way, that if the cabinet agrees, we are going to oust the French ambassador. And so the government asked for a few months, and TLP activists, they said, okay, we'll wait for a few months, and they decided to wait. And eventually, after a few months, when the deadline was nearing, which is the 20th of April, which is coming in a few days, just like a week before, the government decided to arrest the head of TLP under fake allegations of him being a murderer. And so there was no evidence provided, there was no petition shown. All of a sudden, we wake up and we find out that Saad Rizvi, who is the head of the TLP, is arrested, and there's absolutely no evidence to corroborate the fact that the allegations that were placed by my signals are down on the freeway right now, so bear with me. So the TLP activists, they're very upset because the leader is arrested for no reason at all, just a week before the deadline is to expire for the eviction of the French ambassador. So what do? They get upset, they block the roads, what any political activist would do. You know, they get upset, they're outraged, and they react. And when they react, instead of trying to mediate a truce, instead of trying to, have a conversation, what Sheikh Rashid, the Interior Minister of Pakistan, does is use draconian against these unarmed, who are just trying to use their democratic right to protest about the unconstitutional arrest of their head. And they end up using tear gas, they end up using batons, and they injure a lot of TLP activists, so they respond in self-defense. There's like altercation, there is like a gang war on the streets all over Pakistan, and as a result of which the cops are injured. About 506 cops get injured and 2 are killed. And this could have been avoided. All of this could have been avoided if our Prime Minister had not arrested Saad Rizvi on unconstitutional basis. Nothing like this would have happened. He could have just sat down with Saad Rizvi, discussed the reasons why he is not sure about eviction of the French ambassador, or come to a mutual agreement on how he was going to do it. Maybe we could have a referendum in Pakistan to see if the Pakistani public does want removal of the French ambassador, because one thing that France is really very vocal about is democracy. So if majority of Pakistanis sign on a petition that they do want the French ambassador to be evicted, there is nothing the French can say to Pakistan. It is the decision of the democratic people of Pakistan who are pursuing a democratic right to evict an ambassador whom they think is not worthy to stay in their country on the basis of the fact that its country is committing blasphemy openly and kind of converting blasphemy into glorified heroic action in its country. So all of this could have been avoided if Imran Khan had pursued dialogue. But for some reason, someone told him that he has to crack down on these Islamist organizations to make FATF happy, because the deadline is approaching for FATF and they're going to decide if Pakistan is going to be placed in the blacklist or not. So this will make FATF really happy that we have been able to, snub these Islamists, and Pakistan is not having any more radical factions. So he decided to use force, draconian force, against these political activists who are basically like any other political party. They have the same rights as PTI does. They have the same rights as PMLN does. They have the same rights as Pakistan People's Party does, because they are politicians, they're political activists. They're trying to pursue a certain goal peacefully without using arms. Their leader was arrested without being given any valid reason. And then when they reacted, their leader was not even released. Because had he been released, he would have contained them. He would have told them that please do not cause any riots, or do not do any kind of insurrection or violent activity, or do not attack any innocent people, do not kill any cops, do not do any kind of armed activity. But that was not done on purpose. It's as if the government wanted this reaction from TLP, because it would give it an excuse to label TLP as a militant. Having said that, all while this militancy was being pursued, so-called by TLP, they're calling it militancy, the leader of TLP remained under arrest of the government. And surprisingly, he gets released. I don't know if he's released or not, but he gets profiled as a terrorist. So imagine the irony that you are the head of a political party, you get arrested out of the blue, and then when your activists are outraged and they're trying to react to this unconstitutional action, instead of letting you go out and speak with them and tell them to calm down and try to pacify them so that they don't get violent, you are left inside the prison, and violence is allowed to be continued. And then once violence has been committed and cops are killed, you are blamed as a terrorist because you're the leader of TLP. How is this fair? In any country, whether secular, whether religious, any country of the world, it would not be fair. It would not be legal. It would not be constitutional. But in Pakistan, Sheikh Rashid, who's crazy, he's a crazy man. He's an idiot, an asshole. And I'm fasting, I'm sorry, Allah, please forgive me. I used a 4-letter word for this man, but he is a complete jerk. He has evolved this situation into the current civil crisis that Pakistan is facing. And this could have been avoided if he had not done a lot of things that he did, because he thought he had the power and he had the strength and the dictatorial, authoritarian, will to do so. He was so taken away with this aura of power that I'm the almighty, all-powerful interior minister of Pakistan. I can do anything. These TLP activists are like cockroaches. I can do this, I can do that to them, and they will shut up and they will back off. Well, guess what? They didn't. They reacted. They reacted as they should have, because their leader was arrested. because the cause for which they stood up was not, paid attention to. And above all, they were oppressed, they were persecuted, and their struggle for a very noble cause was termed as terrorism. So the fact that they want the French ambassador to be evicted is being labeled as terrorism, and that is what infuriated them. This is exactly what made them so upset that today in Lahore we have the situation as we have today. And this is again, total 100% incompetence of Imran Khan and Sheikh Rashid. They have no clue what they're doing. They are getting wrong inputs from wrongful people with wrong intentions who actually do want the whole scenario to be incited to the point that Pakistan becomes a Yemen or Syria. So you know how it all started in Yemen. We all know what happened. And we all know that Houthis who are still there, who are still competing for their cause, which they call is a humble cause and is a noble cause, now they're using arms. They were what? Political activists. They belonged to a political party. Now they are armed. Now they have weapons. And the Yemeni government had to run away and find asylum in Saudi Arabia because they were not safe within Yemen. So this is where our country is being taken in Pakistan. They're going to convert TLP into Houthis, the future Houthis, and they're going to convert Imran Khan into the future Yemen government, and they're going to starve the children of Pakistan as they're starving the children of Yemen. And this could have been avoided if Sheikh Rashid was not such a big jerk, if he did not think that he's so almighty and all-powerful that he can use force. I mean, this guy is so crazy, he's actually firing bullets on unarmed protesters today. I have footage to prove that the cops are firing bullets, real bullets, not rubber bullets, real bullets, and people are dying. 3 protesters got killed, assassinated, martyred by the cops. This is state-sponsored terrorism by Imran Khan, by Sheikh Rashid, that has killed innocent civilians who were just trying to orchestrate their right of protest in our democracy. This is not acceptable under International Charter of Law. Just wait and you will get your condemnation from United Nations, from Amnesty International, from Human Rights Watch, who are always looking for an excuse to slander and slam Pakistan. So it's coming, just wait. And you cannot get away with the fact, oh, they are terrorists. It is yet to be determined if they're terrorists or not. It is yet to be determined if this faction is banned or not. A government cannot ban a political party just like that. It has to come through the Supreme Court. It has to come through the Election Commission of Pakistan. And this has not happened as yet. So when you say, oh, we were just doing it against this banned faction, you are wrong. You were not doing it against the banned faction, because this organization has yet to be officially and legally and constitutionally banned in Pakistan. And you cannot justify your use of force, your use of bullets, real bullets, against a political party that has not been officially and constitutionally and legally banned in Pakistan. Just because Imran Khan and Sheikh Rashid wake up one day and decide that this political party is going to be banned and called a terrorist, that's not how things are going to happen in Pakistan. Because this is not the Pakistan of Ayub Khan. This is not the Pakistan of Yahya Khan. This is not the Pakistan of Pervez Musharraf. This is not the Pakistan of General Ziaul Haq. This is a modern day Pakistan of 2021 where every civilian has a right to protest peacefully and cannot be labeled as a militant or a terrorist or a banned faction at the whim of the present ruler without going through the Supreme Court, without going through the proper protocol. So what happened, the use of force against civilians, against political activists, in the Dictionary of International Law is draconian. It's a war crime. It's a human rights violation. And it can be internationally condemned. I'm in the US right now, and I'm condemning it. When I come back within a couple of weeks in Pakistan, I will condemn it openly on the soil of Pakistan. But for now, I'm condemning it from US. And I'm doing this in English so that everybody in the world can listen to it and understand what the hell is going on in Pakistan. And this is not the so-called radical Islamists, fascists that they're targeting. These are real political activists who were unarmed and whose leader was arrested against the Constitution of Pakistan without any solid grounds. They're reacting. They had justifiable, noble cause that they were pursuing. They were trying to evict an ambassador of a country that they felt had disrespected the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, of 2 billion Muslims. And as a democracy, they have the right to do so. And they were just doing that. And the use of force on them was done by the draconian government of Imran Khan, by the dictatorial, the dictator of Interior Minister of Pakistan, that Sheikh Rashid, who thinks that force is the answer to everything. And the thing is now evolved into something similar to what we were seeing in Yemen at the beginning of the Yemen war. And probably to some extent you can say the Syrian war as well. And this could have been stopped if Imran Khan had some sense, but I don't know where the hell is he, what the hell is he doing, and why is his brain in cloud 9? We have to, it's very important. You know, the one thing that I mentioned yesterday, the one thing that is very important over here, more than everything else, the very important thing is that the cops are revolting now. And this is something I predicted more than 24 hours ago. And I think a couple of days ago when I did a video, I predicted it, that the cops are going to revolt against the state. And then the army is going to revolt, the soldiers are going to revolt. And I'm already seeing on social media a lot of cops who are supporting TLP against Imran Khan. And I'm seeing a lot of soldiers giving their testimonies that they do not support Imran Khan. They want him kicked out or controlled because his hawkish policies are going to create a civil crisis and a war on the same lines as Yemen and Syria. This is a very sensitive issue, and it should have been brought about in a very careful manner, but our government in Pakistan is stupid, and stupid is actually a very big understatement. I think they just, I don't know, but I think they have their brains in cloud 9. They think they're all too powerful and all too mighty, that they can get away with everything just because they're on good relations with the Chief of Army Staff. But I have to let you know, grow up. Establishment is not with anybody. Establishment is only with Pakistan. And if you're going to see a civil war happening between the people of Pakistan, where the cops are revolting, where the Pakistani soldiers are revolting, the establishment is not going to take the side of Imran Khan. The establishment is not going to baby Imran Khan anymore. They are going to do what is the best for Pakistan, which will be to impose a martial law, which is most likely going to happen in the next 24 to 48 hours, unless Imran Khan and Sheikh Rashid come to their senses and start showing some element of sanity, which they have not been able to. So having said that, we can go it either way. You want to use force, you use force. You saw what happened today was just a trailer. People got killed and assassinated and martyred. There were like, I think 3 people from TLP who got martyred. More is going to happen tomorrow. There's going to be blood all over Pakistan, and this is going to happen. This is going to erupt like a volcano. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. And they are not going to stop fighting. They are not going to stop standing up, because they are pursuing a very noble cause of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's honor. They're doing it in the name of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's honor. So you cannot expect them to sit down and wait for you to fulfill your promise, because they will do whatever they're doing. They will not stop. And today, if 3 people got martyred, tomorrow more people are going to get martyred, unfortunately. And this can be avoided if you come to your senses, you show some sanity, you sit down with Saad Rizvi, you have a truce, you sit down with the leadership of TLP, you come to a truce, and you promise them what you promised them before, that you're going to evict the French ambassador, or you come to a decision where you at least start the democratic process of evicting the French ambassador, where you show the world that Pakistan does not like to befriend nations that disrespect the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So you can do this in a non-violent, non-combative manner if you want to, where we can end this civil crisis right now, this minute, only if you have the will. But if you think you're all too powerful and all too strong and all too mighty and these are just cockroaches you're dealing with, and these are just these bloody fascist radical Islamists, that's how I know, that's how your secular and your liberal ministers are terming the TLP activists. But trust me, this is exactly what the Yemen government thought the Houthis were. And look where the Yemen government is. And look where the Houthis are right now. And look where Yemen is right now. You cannot allow this conflict to propagate, because it's just going to play in the hands of the enemies. They are loving it. They love conflicts, any kind of conflict in Pakistan. India is having a feast right now. Israel is having a feast right now. CIA is very happy. They're all very happy. They want more blood. They want more conflict. They want more war, because war helps them achieve control. What you need to do is you need to end the agenda of the enemies by trying to bring about a truce. So I don't think at this point even the French ambassador would mind getting evicted. Come to think of it, Macron has already asked the French to leave Pakistan. You need to evict the French ambassador now, and it's not going to affect anything. People of France are already fed up of Macron Emmanuel. People are already fed up of Islamophobia. There are a few white supremacists who are upset, who still do a lot of propaganda against Islam. But, if you look at it globally, there is a rising awareness of Islamophobia, and people don't like it. And Macron Emmanuel is losing his popularity day by day, and the French are not with him. Yellow Vest movement is a classic example of how the French themselves have revolted against Emmanuel Macron. So if you evict the French ambassador today on the basis of disrespect of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, I don't think the French as a nation would be really upset with Pakistan, or the future government or an alternative government of France is going to take any hawkish action against Pakistan, like Sheikh Rashid is misinterpreting. In fact, it's going to bring about more credibility of Pakistan as good Muslims who really love their Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and who would go to the point of evicting an ambassador of a country that whose leader has publicly glorified blasphemy. So I have spoken about this previously as well. Like yesterday I said that it's only going to make you stronger as a nation and bring you closer to your Muslim brotherly nations. But coming back to the point, you don't want to do it tomorrow. You don't want to do it a week later when there are floods of blood in the streets of Lahore. You want to do it right now because 3 people have already been assassinated, martyred. We have 2 cops who have been martyred. They're both martyrs. We cannot allow any more innocent blood to be shed, whether it is of the cops or it is of the TLP activists. You have to revoke your petition to profile TLP as a terrorist organization. You have to revoke all legal action you have taken against TLP. You have to not promise, you have to do it today, right now, right this minute. You have to write down a notice to the French ambassador to leave Pakistan, and you have to stop, S-T-O-P, stop using force against the TLP activists, which means no more bullets. We are so upset when the Indian army uses rubber bullets against the Kashmiris that end up giving them scars and even blind them. And over here, your cops just killed 3 unarmed children, young boys, just because they were trying to protest for the honor of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is not constitutional. This is state-sponsored terrorism, and there's blood on the hands of Imran Khan. There's blood on the hands of Sheikh Rashid, and any policymaker, any policy breaker who has collaborated with both of them to bring about this entire fiasco. Nothing can be justified. All of this cannot be justified. This could have been stopped. This could have been prevented. And our enemies could have been defeated even before they tried to wage this war against us. The best strategy of our enemies has always been by having us stand against each other, by having us kill each other, by having us fire bullets at each other. And guess what? They just became very successful because we have a stupid interior minister. I won't even call him stupid. I think he's a criminal now. I would just hang him to death for killing innocent civilians. He deserves to be killed. Honestly, he deserves to be hanged. Sheikh Rashid, like Bhutto, I don't know about the Bhutto thing, but Sheikh Rashid, what he did, he deserves to be hanged, honestly, for what he's done. What he thinks was justified is not justified. He just killed. He committed cold-blooded murder, planned murder of innocent political activists who are, by the way, not a banned faction as yet, because this whole petition still has to go through the Supreme Court of Pakistan. So legally, constitutionally, he had no right to fire bullets at the protesters of TLP. He had no right to do so. And he did it, and he killed people. And this is cold-blooded, planned murder. He's a murderer. He must be hanged for this. And Imran Khan must be brought to accountability for letting him get away with it, for letting him do this, for drowning Pakistan in one of the worst civil crises you can ever think of. There is no way you can be nice to Imran Khan for what he's doing. There's no way you can justify that violence can pacify and calm these protesters. It's actually just going to propagate this whole crisis into the same scenario as Yemen, as Syria, and by that time it will be too late for this country, that's a nuclear country by the way, and for the rest of the world. Allah Hafiz. I hope this makes sense. I'm fasting, and those people who got assassinated, murdered, martyred by Sheikh Rashid, they were also fasting. And we're doing it for the honor of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So I don't know how Sheikh Rashid is going to be greeted and treated after his death by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He's going to hellfire for what he's doing. But I do know that these martyrs who were martyred on the streets of Lahore by the cops, by live bullets, by live ammunition, they are going to be greeted by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And they are going to be given a lot of honor in the heaven. And unfortunately, this could have been avoided. Unfortunately, it didn't have to come to this point where our enemies are laughing at us. They're having a feast, and we have a bunch of insane leaders governing Pakistan who think it's okay to do this. It's not okay to do this. And if Chief of Army Staff does not do anything right now, then that means he consents to everything. That means he's also part of the problem, which means we are looking at an internal revolt within the Pakistan army, which means we are going to be another Yemen, most likely by the time I try to come back to Pakistan, which would be a couple of weeks. So Yemen or Syria, we're getting there. And we can stop it right now, right this minute, if we have the political will to do so. And the one thing that I really want the government and cops to remember is, please do not use any force. Please do not use any force against these protesters. Do not fire bullets. Do not use tear gas. Let them protest. They are not a banned party as yet. They are not officially terrorists as yet. It still has to be determined. It has not been determined as yet. So you are not in the legal position to fire bullets on them or to do what you have done today. And so this is because this is only going to put more fuel in the fire, which is what's happening right now. And this is exactly what our enemies want. I think this is a big conspiracy going on. There are Qadianis involved, there's India involved, there's CIA involved, there's Mossad involved. And you know what's going on, and you still are letting them do what they want to do. This is what I'm asking the Chief of Army Staff. You know what's going on. You know this is CIA, Mossad, and RAW, and not the TLP activists, but the whole scenario, and I mean the civil crisis and everything. And you're gonna let them win? How can you let them win? They've been trying to incite a civil crisis in Pakistan since like more than a half a century, and they've not been able to. I mean, they did that in Bangladesh, and look, we got ourselves amputated. But I mean, can we try to go through Bangladesh again? I mean, are you going to let ourselves drown into another East Pakistan-like situation? I mean, do you want Pakistan to be another Yemen or Syria, or you're not going to do anything? You're going to just sit down and just watch them burn Pakistan, and you're not going to sit down and talk to TLP activists, and you're not going to you have too much of a big ego, because you're the Chief of Army Staff. I mean, so what if you're the Chief of the Army Staff? you have a responsibility. And if Pakistan breaks up, then people are going to remember you just like they remember Yahya Khan. So get over your ego and go and sit down with these people and talk to them and try to listen to what they have to say, and then try to do what they want, what they're trying to tell you. All they need is attention. All they need is that someone sits with them and talks to them and listens to what they have to say, and you listen to them and you kind of address their concerns, and instead of calling them militants, terrorists and fascists and God knows what, you know try to do what is the democratic duty of the government and the state should be, to let the people of Pakistan be heard. Because if they're not going to be heard for something so noble and honorable like the honor of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then it's going to be a nightmare for everybody. It's going to be like Yemen, Syria, just name it. And Modi will be very happy. Modi is already very happy, I'm sure. Allah Hafiz.